Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Brianna here. I am battling a very bad cold, so I am nasally. I apologize, but didn't want to delay this interview anymore with the amazing Dr. Benita. Gosh, my eyes are watering. So we're just going to wait for her to hop on, and we're going to talk about how to make perimenopause better when it happens for you by taking action in your 30s. Right, and all of these could be no matter where you're at, but especially if in your 30s, as you enter, your 30s, 40s, perimenopause can hit. So we are gonna have, let's see if I can add you. Can you request to join? I don't know if I add you as moderator. Okay. Dr. Benita, I think you just need to request to join live with me. I don't know how to bring you up here. Add as moderator. Is that how I do it? Oh no, maybe I do this. There we go. See if that worked. If you get my request, just accept it. Okay, you're here. I just sent you a request to join live with me. So just click and accept the request and we'll go from there. Invite. All righty. Figuring out all the tech, guys. Give us a moment. Did you get my request? Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. It should pop up and say, all right. Okay, can you request? I don't know how you request it. Is unable to join. Okay. Let's see if we can figure this out, ladies. I sent another request. I don't know how you request, to be honest, other than, oh, there we go.
Right.
We figured it out.
You know what? You can't do it from your laptop. Can you
Oh,
hear
yes.
me? It
Oh,
has to be your phone.
yep, I think that's the case.
Yes.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Still battling this cold, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Well, I'm glad you're getting better.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I'm excited for you to
Of
share.
course.
So just before we get into the topic, will you just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about you, what you do?
Yep. I am Benita Vernado. My patients call me Dr. V. I'm a board certified OBGYN, and I have coined myself now the lifestyle gynecologist, the first and the only. I'm now helping patients with their lifestyle so that they can manage their conditions and they can reverse their conditions and they can prevent things. Fibroids, heavy periods, painful periods, getting ready for pregnancy, all of those things are affected by lifestyle. So, board certified in OBGYN, board certified in lifestyle medicine. I'm a mom, practiced for 20 years, and I wanted to be home with my kids. So, they're 13 and 17. So, I'm not with the little ones, but I know what it means to be a working mom. And so I walked away from my full time private practice in 2021 so I could
Wow.
balance
Yeah.
the two.
Oh man. I'll eventually get there. My kids are only 3 and 1. So we have a lot of learning to do from you. But you mentioned being a lifestyle medicine, lifestyle doctor, that sort of
Yeah,
thing. I don't think a lot of people kind of know what that means and how you bring that into, traditional, practice or medicine that you do. So tell us a little bit about that.
that is a great question. And you are absolutely right. It kind of sounds like what it is. Um, I'm calling it back to basics. We're getting back to just the plain stuff that everybody needs to be doing to make sure your body's functioning well. So, there are six pillars in lifestyle medicine. Eating, what you're eating, so nutrition, exercise, stress management, sleep, focusing on healthy relationships, and avoiding risky substances. And so, lifestyle medicine is a new branch of medicine. So, Usually, we would tell patients, okay, you need to lose weight, but they know that, but they don't always know
Right.
how. The other thing that has been helpful about lifestyle medicine is that there are studies that prove that, okay, if you have diabetes, you can take metformin, but what would actually be more effective is if you eat differently and walk. That could be your metformin. So,
Mm,
lifestyle medicine, we use evidence based studies, we have protocols, and it's just a very nuanced way to help patients because really about 70 to 80% of diseases are caused by our lifestyle, what we eat, how we move, how stressed we are.
yeah. I love that because, I feel like, I mean, it's just so powerful that you're bringing that into your practice, just like it is what we do. Like the proactiveness of the, changing our lifestyle can really impact, what we're going to talk about, those perimenopause, menopause years, right? And so,
Yep.
given what you've seen with clients, a lot of women probably are in, some women might be in perimenopause or menopause stage right now who are
Mm-hmm,
watching, and
mm-hmm.
some women might be in their 30s, eventually entering that. Like, what are some things, whether they're lifestyle things or other things that we can do to, well, first of all, actually, what is perimenopause and menopause in case I mean, women should know, but what is,
Yes.
and then tell us what are those things we can do to like make that easier.
Okay. So everybody knows what puberty is,
Mm-hmm.
right? We were stick figures, then we started growing boobs, hips, started our periods. So it's kind of like puberty in reverse. You know, when you start having your periods, we call that menarche. That's your first period. And you are fertile, you can have babies. When you stop having your periods for one whole year, you are menopausal. So, one whole year, no period, the shop is closed, you're done. Perimenopause is the time around that process. So, as your body is kind of, I don't want to say shutting down, but as your ovaries are starting to say, you know what, we're wrapping this show up, your hormones are doing like that. And so there's adjustments that your body is going through as you transition into menopause. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a really hot topic now. It used to be something that we didn't talk about, and now everybody's talking about it, which I'm so excited
You're
about.
like, yes. Well, like, what are some of those things that women face? That are indicators that they're in the perimenopause phase.
Okay. So it's about, and let me just tell you this. So I'm an OBGYN. I was trained very good at what I do, but honestly, and I'm not just saying this, most OBGYNs would tell you we didn't get a lot of information regarding menopause. We know how to give you hormone replacement therapy, and we know how to help tell you, okay, protect your bones and all of these things, but really understanding the science behind it, and being very astute at how to help women transition, that we have to dig a little bit deeper on our own. So I have been digging deeper since I transitioned out, and there are about 35 to 40 symptoms of menopause. So the classic ones are hot flashes, night sweats. People have brain fog, so they just kind of, decrease energy. Things don't kind of come together, kind of like after you've had a baby and you haven't had sleep for 5 nights.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you
know.
start to have vaginal dryness, and your sex drive can go down. Ones that I've seen that were surprising were dizziness. You can start to have joint pain. I'm 49, I'm perimenopausal, and these are all joint pain, dizziness are things I started to experience. And so, yeah, you can also have mood changes. So, if you have anxiety or depression, it potentially can get worse. If you've never had anxiety or depression, you can start to see symptoms of that. So, the hormones that are controlling this process that are produced by your ovaries are estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Those are the big three. And the estrogen in particular plays a big role in your brain chemistry.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I've heard people talk about perimenopause, menopause, it's just like you have to experience all those things. Like it's just part of it, right?
Come
But
on,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
There's a rise of women out there, specialists like yourself that are saying like you don't actually have to experience all those
right.
things. There's you can do proactively, or if you're
Right.
in that. So what are some of those things that we can do to, whether we're not in that phase yet or in that phase, that can do to help us with these
Right.
things?
Right. So let me just reiterate what you just said. We do not have to suffer through menopause. That is my biggest message now. We have normalized women suffering. So if you don't get sleep at night because you're soaking wet, then that's just how it is, and you have to accept it. And no, you don't. Not everyone experiences that. So this is before I really did any deeper research. The women who seem to transition better, they walked every day. And I'm not saying they walk 2 hours a day, they might walk 30 minutes a day. So, walking helps quite a bit. Increasing your muscle mass also helps tremendously. You start to have issues with, so your bone density, estrogen helps your bones stay nice and strong. And your muscle mass will be very, very important as you transition through that process. It also helps with your metabolism. So your metabolism is starting to go down. And a lot of women get what we call that spare tire. And so that's really one of the hallmarks that a lot of women are facing. They haven't had weight issues before, and all of a sudden, the weight starts going up and they can't get it off. So, exercise, making sure that you increase your fiber. So, lots of fiber is very important. You also want to reduce inflammation. So, I don't know how people, laymen have caught on to inflammation, but inflammation is a big term as well. And so we want to reduce that in our body. So, cutting out the processed foods, cutting out the fried foods, cooking more fruits and vegetables at home, cutting out the drive-throughs.
Hmm.
That's really important. And basically also starting to improve your pelvic floor, because that's going to be very important, which, some of us after childbirth is not so good. So, something that can occur is you start leaking more when you cough or sneeze, or you can't hold your bladder, and your pelvic floor strength can help with that.
Yeah, and I love what you said. Like, it doesn't matter, what, if you've had leakage before, if your pelvic floor is weak, if you haven't been exercising, you can still start now. You
Absolutely.
know, you don't have to like be like, oh, it's all gone for me, forget it. Like, no, like, and what you're saying is simple
Simple.
things that that don't that aren't, I'm gonna say this, that aren't sexy. Like, they're not like, oh my gosh, do this special thing. It's like simple, like, you can just move your body regularly, like, eat whole foods as much as possible. And it goes to show you that it is not just about your weight, like, it's about your longevity and your health, and you
Exactly.
feeling well for the rest of your life versus just right now.
I want to, this one usually stands alone. I want to really impress upon women sugar. Sugar, sugar, which also increases our insulin resistance. It also increases inflammation. But sugar is in everything we eat. So we're going to have to start looking at
Yeah.
labels and cutting back on that. Um, that was not so simple to do, but it is very, very doable. Your taste buds will adjust. But I have told women, friends, patients, just to cut back on your sugar. I had one person, she was having, hot flashes at night. She cut back on the amount of creamer that she was putting in her sugar. And she said her hot flashes got better. I hear that all the time. Just cutting out the sugar. You can do that right today. Right
Yeah,
today.
what sugar? Because we all hear, like, when our kids are young, we say, we try not to give them too much sugar, but yet somehow we allow ourselves to have more sugar, or sugar sneaks itself into places that we don't even know it's
That you
there.
don't
That's
even
what's
know.
happening. There, I guess you guys, food, people who create food are really smart. They are really smart in making you want that more. And there's things called, like, craving
Yes.
specialists out there, and they put certain things, they're very particular, like an Oreo. The texture of an Oreo is very intentional. The taste of an Oreo is very
Yep.
intentional, right? And
Yep.
so, sugar makes itself, not obviously, that's obvious, but into a lot of other things. And so I love how you said just to be careful of it, but, like, what does sugar do to our body? Like, why why is your patient taking, having less sugar and having less hot flashes?
Okay, so think of it as like, and it really is, it really lights up the same part of your brain that cocaine does. It's refined. So sugar comes from sugar cane. They process it down to the ultra like most addictive form. And when you take it, it is actually lighting up your brain. So your sympathetic nervous system. In general, it's also raising your insulin. So when you eat these like high fructose corn syrup, that's like I don't want to say a bolus, that's a medical term. That's like you're just dumping sugar into your bloodstream and your insulin spikes up immediately. And for a lot of women, that can trigger hot flashes. And not to mention that insulin resistance develops because your insulin is having to work all the time. And after a while, your body's like, okay, we've seen this before.
Mm.
And that also contributes to inflammation and to weight
Well,
gain.
I want you to tell us a little bit more about insulin, because I think when people hear insulin, they typically think of maybe diabetes. They don't realize that insulin is this thing we have in it, is that plays a very important role in our body. So tell us, what is the role of insulin, and when it does spike like that, what does it do to our bodies?
Yeah. So insulin is the, again, this is something that has kind of gotten into the zeitgeist, but insulin is supposed to help glucose get into your cells, right? And then that also helps with fat storage. So, okay, glucose is what our brain needs, it's what our muscles need, and it helps us to process and metabolize that and get it to where it goes. So, it's your body's very, very smart. So, if you have a lot of sugar, you're going to have the pancreas, which is right around the stomach, is going to crank out more insulin so that you can process that sugar. Your blood sugar, your bloodstream doesn't like a lot of sugar at one time. So it's very important that the insulin is there to get the sugar into the cells.
Yeah.
And if you eat a balanced diet and you don't overload it, it does what it does. But what can happen and what we see in type 2 diabetes is your pancreas gets a little tired, and there are other chemical processes in the body that is also affected by it. But we do know that type 2 diabetes can be reversed, especially within the first 8 years of diagnosis.
Mm.
So again, these are things that we have control over. You can really control your blood sugar, your insulin levels. Something that's also very popular is foods on the low glycemic index. So white table sugar spikes you high immediately. But if something has is lower on the glycemic index, it doesn't shoot your sugar up as high or as fast.
Yeah.
And in general, you want to eat what we call complex carbohydrates. So it's going to take your body a while to break all of this down. So it's not just dumping all of the sugar into your
Yeah.
bloodstream.
So what would be an example, like say fruits, because there's different fruits that are those different levels on the glycemic index. Like berries is probably
Mm-hmm.
lower than mango, which are,
Mm-hmm.
I love mango from the Caribbean, or banana,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's not that you can't have those, because those are still great fruits. It's just varying it, but also being aware of where you're at. Like maybe you don't need as many of those. Maybe you need to like switch out for the berries or something.
Yes, it's the
Right.
starchier fruits and vegetables. So like the
Yeah.
bananas, your potatoes, mangoes are good. Pineapple as well, because fruit still has sugar,
Right.
right? Now let me just be very, very clear on this. So a lot of people, and okay, I'm not anybody's doctor on
Right.
here tonight.
Right.
We always think diabetics can't eat fruit, but they actually can. They need to kind of balance that. But what is very, very important is that you have the fiber with the sugar, because that makes it a little bit more complex and more difficult to digest, right? So a lot of people are juicing now,
Mm.
which is missing the fiber.
Right.
So even though it's fruit sugar, it's still doing the same thing. It's still shooting your blood sugar up.
Yeah.
So when we see smoothies are better than juicing. But if you could eat the mango, or you could eat the berries. That's better than processing them up if you allow your body to do it.
Yeah, there's a role for juicing, there's a role for smoothies, but you're right. Like it's always going to be better when you eat your food. When you chew, it allows the enzymes, all of that, to even tell you you're full, right? And so,
Exactly.
we're not saying don't eat, don't do
Exactly.
juices or smoothies. I love those things too, but we're trying to say prioritize eating the vegetable, eating the fruit or the
Right.
vegetable as well. Well, we could
Right.
keep talking because I think you're so amazing and there's so much you could share. But as we wrap up, I know I'm going to talk about your podcast after because this is where you share all the good nuggets too. Those for those listening, if they had to take one action, just I mean, there's a few that you said, one action to really start. What would be that one thing that could help them the most? She's like, they're all great.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't think you're gonna expect this response. It's mindset because usually patients are coming to the healthcare system to get help, right? I need a pill for this. Okay, my period is heavy or is painful. I need a pill. And they're looking outside of themselves for someone to help them. And so shifting your mindset to understand that you have the control and you have the power. All right, I'm not going to put as much creamer in my coffee. That's going to make me feel better. I'm going to try to get to sleep an hour earlier. That's going to make you feel better. You actually can easily, well, not let me say easily. It can take some work to get up there, but
Right.
you really can manage most of your issues with your lifestyle, depending on where you are and what particular issue you're trying to
Yeah.
manage. So we have the power. You don't necessarily have to have a pill or surgery to to manage issues, and that's really, really important. We have to start there.
Yeah, that's important. It all starts here, right? Your mindset and what you believe, and then that filters out into your actions. So, as we wrap up, I mean, tell us where we can find you, but also, where people can connect with you. But tell us about your podcast.
Uh, so really, that is what kind of transitioned me out of full-time medicine. I didn't have enough time to spend with my patients. I always wanted to educate my patients, and so I started the podcast just to kind of, okay, you got painful periods, go listen to episode 4. That's kind of how it started as a resource for my patients. And it just kind of grew from there and became lifestyle. And so, yeah, we're going on what? Well, we're 3 years in, 3 years plus.
Yeah.
And I'm actually transitioning a little bit.
Okay.
I'm really excited about it. I'm going to have a series on a webinar or a few Zooms next month. It's going to be called Dr. V Love, and
I
I'm going to
love
be
it.
talking about a lot of these topics. We're going to be talking about sex. We're going to talk about getting back to basics. We're going to be talking about mental health. So, yeah, I'm all about education. You can go to visit drv.com. Visit drv.com. I also have programming that I love community and accountability, and so I've created some groups that will allow us to stay connected and allows me to talk with patients, and we can share and help each other.
I love it. Oh man, and we had fun on your podcast too. So,
Yes, we
love
did.
the
You're a
podcast.
wonderful guest.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, you're just such
Absolutely.
a great resource and you're so amazing. And so, ladies, make sure you go and connect with Dr. V. Go to visit drv.com. Is that what you said?
Yeah, okay, that's my website. Let me back up. Office visits with
I know.
DRV.
So is it
That's where
office visit? Okay. Well, one of them,
it,
just go to her
it was too
profile.
long. I'm on Instagram, Facebook,
Yes, just
all
go
the
to her
places.
Instagram here or just look her up. You'll
Office
find her. She's
visits.
all over.
I'm all
Well,
over.
yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I learned a lot. And, it's really helpful for me, being in my 30s to know that these simple things that I'm even doing now to take care of myself are going to help me when I reach those stages as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. All right, ladies. Well, go ahead and follow Dr. V, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye bye.